Hello, everybody. We are here with the one and only employee brand leader of the year, Johan Driessens. He's the coach of, or one of the coaches of the Employee Engagement Awards in Dubai and in Belgium. He's been working with us since day one. So he saw the concept grow. He crafted it with us. So Johan, welcome. Tell us maybe a little bit first about yourself, who you are and what your background is, and let's take it from there.
Hey, thank you, Yves, and thank you for already a small introduction. First of all, let me say that I am very grateful that I can be part of your team. We worked in the past, we worked together, and I must say, and just as now, it's always something that's based on energy, on drive, on hunger, on enthusiasm. We connect very well there, and as always, you establish to create a new team with top professionals who are very easy to work with clear vision, with purpose. So very grateful that I can be part of your team. Thank you for that.
Oh, we're grateful for having you, my friend. And let's have some fun together in the next year, because we believe strongly in the power of fun and DNA and bringing the right people together, bringing a diverse group together. I mean, you already saw them, obviously. It's going to be amazing, in fact, in Belgium and in Dubai. I'm also looking forward to learn from the both, in fact, and to see if there is some cross-learning that we can establish there. So maybe you can explain a little bit your role as a coach. You will be focusing on the employer branding side of things. So maybe you can explain a little bit of employer branding, employee engagement, what, how, when, what's it all about?
Yeah. Maybe that is a good start for this conversation as well, because a lot of people are talking about employee engagement and employer branding, but what does that really mean? And from my understanding, because I am a serial HR entrepreneur, I have several businesses within HR, which one of them is Oddball, where we help create employers, but also companies create experiences to attract, to retain talent, customers, digital experiences. And we do that because we believe that if you want to be really successful with your brand, and in this case, an employer brand, it has to be real. It has to be a future, very positive memory for employees. And that is where we are experts on, is to look at a brand and to find out what if one of your employees is talking about you 5 years from now, what will they tell other people? How would they still be a brand ambassador for you as an employer? And what we see is that there is a lot of pitfall there, because people, if they look into employer branding strategies or employee experience, it is kind of old-fashioned classic marketing often, where they promise a lot. And in reality, there is a big gap between what is promised and what is the reality of employees. And that is where we have our expertise in how can we align these two things. What you promise is also what people get afterwards. And that is a big thing in employer branding right now. And as a coach, I will look very carefully to do that, because it's not because you can tell it as a cool story. It is effectively a cool story within your company.
Yeah. So the things that you will typically look at is authenticity. Can I say that? Is that the most important word, or any other things where
how real are you? How real are you? It always reminds me, Yves, from this beautiful story that can I share a little story with them?
Sure. We love stories.
Employer branding always reminds me a little bit of this story, that there is this couple who are 20 years together. They still together. They love each other, and then at this one point, this woman asks her husband, "Why do you love me?" And you know, as a man, that is probably the most tricky question you can get from your partner. It's very tricky, but this man is prepared, he's ready for this. And then he says, "I love you because of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, G, gay. And the woman is still, and she looks in the eyes of her husband and says, oh, what an amazing answer, but what does that mean? And the man starts and he looks in the beautiful eyes of this woman and he says, A stands for you are amazing, you are admirable. B stands for you are the best, you are beautiful. C is for you are confident, we are complementary, you complete me. And it keeps on going. D is for you're a dynamic woman, you are devoted, you are delightful. E is for you're easygoing in my life. You electrify me still after 20 years. E stands for, F stands for you're fantastic, you're phenomenal. The G stands for you're my goddess. And it keeps on going. You're groovy, you're great. H stands for helpful, for honorable. And this woman, she thinks, oh my God, after 20 years, all these beautiful words. And then she's more in love than ever because her husband tells her why he's still in love with her. And then she says, okay, but you have 3 letters left. The I, the G, the K. Where does that stand for? And he looks in the eyes of his woman and he says, I'm just kidding. And they never saw this man again because that was the wrong. But this story always reminds me in how employer branding is done. They tell beautiful stories, but then if you start, and this is where it comes to employee experience, a lot of companies are just kidding. They told you a beautiful story, but the reality is different. It's not that work environment where you are energized, where it's amazing, where you can grow, where you can be yourself. And I think a real strong and sustainable culture of a company is always based on a few pillars for me. And what I always are looking for is this a work environment where people can really be themselves? Can they come into the office, in their work environment, and just be themselves? Do they have to change their true identity if they go work somewhere? Because the moment you do that, that is also a recipe for unhappiness, for not feeling good in a work environment.
Yeah.
And then the second pillar for me where I look to is that can people grow? Because we all need growth in our lives, and not only professional, but also personal. Can we become what we want to become? It's a very important thing if it comes to employee experience. And do companies, employers facilitate this environment where you can become a better version of yourself? And then I also believe that a great work culture is based on trust, which is a big issue for a lot of companies. And it's also based on friendship. And that is also something. It's more than just being colleagues. It's where you also connect with people on a human level. And I think all these pillars are very important ingredients of a great work environment, of employee experience. And of course, we add fun to that. Is it also fun to work somewhere? What is the overall experience? I will look to all these different touch points that you have with your employees, and then I will find out what is the future memory of that every touch point you have within your culture of the company. So that is what I probably will do for for the participants of this amazing event.
Yeah. So now everybody understands why we picked you, because of your A, and then your B and your C and your. That's why we picked you, of course. No, I mean, Johan, thank you for all your energy. I think, and that's why, of course, you are part of the Employee Engagement Awards. The employee experience, what you were talking about, is crucial. We also truly believe in it. We chose only 5 challenges, but there are a lot more, of course. We only chose 5 challenges to see, okay, we focus on in the next months and to help our customers with that, or the candidates with that. Quite honestly, we think employer branding is a crucial one. What do people say about your company when they leave the office, or when they've left 5 years from now? How did you make them feel? And you can't fake it. You can't fake it.
Absolutely, and the difference is made between the companies or employers who see employee experience, employer branding as some kind of benefit, because it is a normal thing to add to a work environment. It's not just a benefit. I believe that as an employer, you have the responsibility to understand at least that you are responsible for adding quality to people's life. There is no such thing as work-life balance. It is all life. And people will spend a lot of time, a lot of precious time of their life into your environment as an employer. So I think that every employer is responsible for adding quality to life. And that is a very important thing when we look at employee experience. And we must understand that every situation, every touch point will become an emotion, and an emotion will become a memory. That is behavioral science. It is science, it's biology. That's how it works in our heads, in our body. So truly understanding this and adopting this within a company will differentiate you from a lot of other employers if you are doing this right and if it's real.
Hence your marketing background, obviously, because there's a lot. I mean, I always say, if you treat your employees like you treat your customers, or if you know your employees like you should know your customers, you're already way further. And if you know how to communicate with all these different groups within your company, instead of the one size fits all, which doesn't work whatsoever, then you're already making quite big steps. And that's something that we will also see in the DNA challenge. Okay, do you know your DNA? Do you know what type of people work for you? And do you adapt your communication style or your messages or your stories to those people to so that it resonates and that they feel at home, of course.
But you mentioned a very important thing there, Yves, is that you say, okay, one size fits all. This kind of strategy, that kind of holy grail a lot of companies are looking for, it doesn't exist. It's one size fits one. And that is where it becomes complex. Because if you have a lot of employees, then you have a mother culture, but you also need to look into it on a very individual level. And you have to have an individual strategy for everyone in your company. And that is where it gets very intensive. It gets complex sometimes, because what works for one person will not work for the next one and the next one. So, and that is where a lot of companies actually give up, because they have one thing and it needs to work for everybody. And that will never happen. And it's not only my marketing background, it's also my 40 years of experience as a human being.
Of course.
And that's where it all starts. We're humans. We're not machines or whatever you think. People are also not commodity. So it's a human thing. So first of all, you have to understand, why do people do what they do, and understand them before you expect them to understand you. Important things to think about as a company. And I will look for that with all the participants of this award. I will dive into that. I will check if it's real or not.
On that bombshell, we're going to end this little interview. Thank you so much, Johan. We are obviously looking forward to working with you on the Employee Engagement Awards that are coming to Dubai and to Belgium. So if you want to register, guys, small, medium, and large companies, they can register through the website. Our facilitators will call you. We'll teach you what we're all about, and we hope you will start that little journey with us. Thank you.
Yes.